Welcome, everyone. We're joined here today with Danny Brody. Danny, I want to welcome you back. Danny is the Chief Corporate Officer of HempFusion. We spoke actually before you went public. We've recently had a great interview with Jason, your CEO. For anybody who's looking into that, you'll see a URL pop up right now. You can see that full interview. We talked about a bunch of news releases, what he was excited about going public, and all those different elements. But I'd like to bring you on today to talk more specifically about the markets, because you're up over 150% since IPOing. You've now got your OTCQX listing, so you're able to have a lot more exposure in the United States. And we're going to be talking about MSOS and why that's an important ETF to be looking for US cannabis, but also the activity they've had with your company. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome you, my good man. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me, Brandon. Happy to be here again.
Absolutely. Well, my good man, I wanted to start off right away speaking about the U.S. side of things. You recently got your ticker CBDHF. You've had it for a little bit, but you recently uplisted to the OTCQX. Can you explain what that does for investors both in the United States, but also Canada, for those who are already currently investing in your company? But also, can you speak a little bit about DTC eligibility? Is that coming down the road as well?
Yes, 100%. So basically, it just comes down to liquidity for us. We're a U.S. company. We want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to provide as much liquidity for our shareholders and for new investors that want access to our company. At the end of the day, we're a U.S. company, and it's so frustrating because we're listed on the top tier Canadian exchange, the TSX, right? It's very tough to do that. We're the first CBD company to actually hit that achievement, which in of itself is pretty neat. But it still took about 6 weeks for us to get a US symbol. So we started with a clearing symbol. We started with CBDHF, which allowed about 5% of the US brokerage firms to access the company. Then we uplisted to the QX, the OTCQX. That is the highest tier OTC market. And there's 3 tiers. There's the pinks, there's the OTCQB, and the OTCQX. So we went all the way from the clearing symbol on the bottom all the way to the top, which is fantastic. Now we're open to about 25% of US investors. The third and kind of final tier for us is what's called DTC eligibility. Like you said, a lot of people don't necessarily understand what that is, but in simplest forms, it allows electronic settlement for stocks. So what that does is it opens it up to about 95% of brokerage firms and 95% of investors. I think the only one that can't do an OTC symbol, even with DTC, is Robinhood. But still, massively opening it up. So that is definitely part of the plan. We're working towards that. Everything's submitted, and we are waiting for that to happen. I will make sure that you are the first to know about it once we do get DTC eligibility.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got a graphic really quickly we're going to pop up here that everyone's seeing right now, where it's showing it that once you start getting OTCQB, OTCQX, your DTC, it's amazing. This is just a snapshot of a few brokerage firms that we picked from there, but showing over 47 million investors are now having access to a given company that didn't before. Which is fantastic, because obviously liquidity is the game. You want to be able to find that. And clearly we're starting to see some liquidity come into your company, and has been for several weeks now, because MSOS, it's an ETF in the United States. It's all US focused. It's got almost $1 billion on the book that it manages, and I believe around 28 companies or so. Another graphic's popping up right now that shows over the last little while, in just about 4 weeks or so, you guys had, I think it was a 700% increase in the amount of shares that they were holding. It was around 900,000 shares or so. Now you're over 2 million that MSOS has on their books, and you're just below, like basically tied with Charlotte's Web in terms of percentage of their portfolio. Can you speak a little bit about the significance of that, but also what do you think they're seeing in your company that's giving them the confidence to be buying this many shares in the open market?
Yeah, look, I mean, we're just over 0.56% weighting in the portfolio. We started at 0 a couple of weeks ago, and like you said, that's right behind Charlotte's Web, and it's now ahead of CBDMD. So those are kind of the top 3 CBD players right there. And I think it just comes down to the fact that we've got such a unique angle for the company that's rooted in regulatory compliance, and doing things right but not right away has been so important to us. We've done everything from getting USDA certified organic products to NOAL for topicals, right? No adverse effects. The way we extract our product, our raw material, using a low temperature CO2 extraction method over a long period of time, leaves more of the plant intact, more of that content in the CBD for us. All these things that come together to create a very strong foundation that not a lot of other companies have done. And like I said, we're doing it right, but not right away. And that creates a very strong foundation for us to now build off of. So starting like that, I think is the right move for us. It's a little bit slower, but it's, like I said, we're doing it right. Now we build, right? We've got the dollars to do it. We raised $59 million over the past few years. We've got 48 products on shelves now. We're either selling in or have purchase orders in 8 countries. And I think guys like MSOS they're seeing that now, right? They're seeing the story now that we're public. We're telling that story more, and it's a really exciting story, one that's very different than any other CBD company as we head into this sort of CBD 2.0 market where the industry is starting to grow a mustache, as I like to say.
No, exactly. And right now, once again, you'll see a clip come up that you can go to. Specifically speaking on CBD 2.0, it was Jason's answer to that. I found it very, very interesting. So by all means, we'd love for you to be able to watch that as well. But you spoke about regulations. You spoke about really being a cut above. When people think of CBD, they think, the black market or the gray market. Or when you think of HempFusion, or at least I do, I think of regulations. I think of FDA compliant. I think of the fact that you're in over 4,000 stores in all 50 states. You're now exporting into Europe through Ireland. Clearly, you're doing something right. And clearly, these different businesses, and look, we just spoke about it, ETFs are noticing that. But more importantly, I found it very interesting. This is very recent. You are now the exclusive supplier for a clinical trial at Mount Sinai Medical Hospital in New York. Can you speak a little bit about that? What's the significance of that? And, what do they see in your company, obviously, to be able to put this much faith in you?
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. I mean, again, it all just comes down to that foundation that we've built, and comes down to Jason Mitchell. I mean, he's launched over 300 products with his last company, and he's been responsible for our entire line of product development and our whole foundation that I keep talking about. And the company at Mount Sinai, I mean, Mount Sinai selected us as a company because of that, right? They know they're not going to be taking any chances with regulations. They know they're not going to be taking any chances with having a poor raw ingredient quality. They know that they're going to have the best quality products in the entire industry. So that's why they selected us. And the fact is it just goes towards the entire industry, right? We always want to be doing better for the industry, advancing the science, advancing the R&D, and showing that this stuff actually, really works. So now we're doing this study. We've partnered with Mount Sinai Hospital, and we're effectively measuring CBD's effect on cardiovascular markers. So again, we're just trying to better the industry. We're trying to advance studies. We're trying to advance the science. We're trying to prove all these different things, and kind of just, again, be that step above as far as the company goes.
Yeah, very interesting. And I very much look forward to hearing those results, not just from an investor in CBDHF, which I am, but just as a cannabis enthusiast and someone who believes there's a lot of medical good in this plant.
Also, yeah, 100%. So that's the second clinical study that we've done. The first one that we were working on is it's a partnership with ValidCare. There's only 12 companies that are doing it. They're using our CBD, which is pretty cool. But that's a study where we're testing it's largest human toxicology liver study ever done for CBD. So again, we're trying to see the effects of liver. We're trying to measure all these things scientifically to see what the effects actually are on the body. So that was a 1-year study. And I'm excited to report that we should have results in a couple of weeks from that. So,
Very nice.
We'll see what we can do. And we're probably going to we're working on many other clinical studies and things like that are very exciting. We should be able to announce soon. But, as a company goes, I really do think that we're just getting started.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's talk a little bit about that. This will be the last part of our interview. We're going to talk about, we want to talk about the market awareness and what's been going on, and MSOS coming in, and all these various different things we just spoke on. But many investors are always curious, what's happening on the marketing front? What are you doing to really get the story out there? But then also, what are some of the catalysts that you personally are really excited about in the near future that investors should be keeping an eye out for?
I'm going to answer the second one first, because I'm most excited that 94% of our sales are in retail stores. We have not spent much money at all on marketing initiatives on DTC businesses. So that's a big focus for us. And that's why we brought on guys like Michael to help spread the word about HempFusion on the online community. So we're working towards having about 250 influencers, all the way from micro 10,000 all the way up to a few million. We find those kind of ranges work the best. We get solid engagement rates, but we plan on getting up to about 250 million total reach through our influencer campaigns. And just, again, just pushing the word out. CBD is hard to advertise. You can't use traditional mechanisms such as Facebook, Google, and Instagram. You have to use different methods. You have to work with things like SEO. You have to work with influencers. You have to work with other unique ways to get the word out there. So I'm most excited about shifting more of our sales from retail to online. And I'm more excited to have a massive a reach for the consumers to see kind of HempFusion everywhere, to really create that brand presence and have that translate to more online sales. So I think that's a big angle for us. You look at some of our big competitors, they're selling 70 to 75% online. You know, if we were to keep expanding our retail at the rate that we're going, plus add that online component, I think we're going to be just absolutely dominating the industry. And I can't wait to start seeing some of the results from these campaigns pushing forward.
Absolutely. Well, that's a fantastic way to end our interview. That's exactly what investors want to hear. They want to hear that brand awareness going out on the stock side of things and getting the ticker and getting the exposure to more investors, so that more investors can have a chance to be a part of this company, but also on the consumer side of things, because you're selling products, you're selling a lot of different, so seeing that angle as well really being pushed is fantastic. And as I said earlier, I didn't even know about Michael Bisping. I was just going through my Instagram and saw that. I'm like, oh, I didn't even realize. So I love to see that. So keep up the great work, my good man. I appreciate it and look forward to having you back on again to speak about new developments as they keep coming up. But I hope you enjoy the rest of your day today.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me, Brandon. We'll see you again very soon.
Absolutely. Take care now.
Okay, cheers.